What is going on? Welcome to episode 59 of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh. Player 2 on this one's Captain Logan. How's it going, man?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very good. A little bit tired. It feels like it's been a long week and it's only Tuesday.
Oh no. Oh god.
So
Was Monday really too rough?
I don't know. I'm ready for the weekend already. We played Smash last Friday night, and I'm just ready for that again. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready. So,
I'm
uh,
jealous.
before we get started, if you guys want to get yourself a free book from Audible, go to audibletrial.com/npc. And book I listened to this week is Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, which gives you the behind the scenes on a bunch of games that were made in the past couple years. And really, really good stuff. So that's audibletrial.com/npc. The chair I'm sitting in is from OP Seat. It is a comfortable, affordable gaming chair. And if you use coupon code N64Josh, you can save yourself $10 off your purchase. That's opseat.com, coupon code N64Josh. Also, I do have a Patreon if you want to get yourself an extra podcast for just $1. You can go there and check that out. There's some other tiers as well. And we do the show live Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on twitch.tv/N64Josh. Welcome, everybody that's here with us live. Nightcrawler, K-Cross, Army Life, Kirby Geek, and Killa from Maxis. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. If you're just lurking, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And I think that's all the housekeeping. So let's talk about some Nintendo stuff, man. What have you been playing this last week?
The Splatfest had to represent Team Comedy. Woohoo! Team Comedy. We won. It was a 2-1, and it was global, so it has to stand for the rest of the time that comedy is better than action. What else have I been playing? Trying to think what else. I
Zelda.
just started last night. Yeah, last night I was looking around, and it's so funny. I have a funny little story about this. So last night I was trying to think what I wanted to play and what I wanted to do, and I kept looking around at some of the different titles and stuff and thinking about some of the indies that maybe I could pick up. And when at one point I just decided, I was like, I'm gonna turn on my SNES Classic and devote some time to that, and I'm gonna dig into Zelda: A Link to the Past, because I just finished Blossom Tales a couple weeks ago, and that was really fun. And I wanted to dive back and play the original, so I booted up the SNES and played about 3 hours and finished up the first three pendants and got the Master Sword and headed to the Dark World before I had to go get some buffalo wings. And the funny thing that about that is I was listening to Runjan Sam's podcast, and he did the exact same thing last night with Super Mario World on his SNES Classic.
Hmm.
And I don't know what was going on with Monday night, but it seemed like it was like a perfect retro night. So I'm looking forward to finishing up my fresh run of Zelda: Link to the Past. And man, makes me wish that we were getting a new Zelda game that was a 2D top-down game for the Switch, or at least like some 3DS games ported over to the Switch, so I could play those in the meantime.
That's we're gonna be like Zelda overload, man. Like that can't
Okay,
happen for you, can it?
that can't happen for me. I'm
Oh man,
Zelda all day, every day.
that's right.
I'm
That's
fine
right.
with that.
Cool, cool. Well, I finished Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I want to. We'll talk about that a little bit more later.
Good.
But man, that was 130 hours.
Holy crud.
Yeah, more time than
That's
Zelda. So
wow.
yeah.
And that was just the story. That wasn't even like dinking around, like
Uh,
trying to see what you can fall off of.
I did some side quests and stuff like that. Not I mean I still have a lot of blades to collect and things like that. There's still a lot of content there. But I was able to finally complete the story, which I
Wow.
mean, I'll be honest, I you guys have heard me talk on this show. I don't typically complete games. Kirby Geek, the Oracle, says we are still amazed. See? So, there you go. It was great. It was great. I'm like I really want to jump into the first one and possibly X at some point, you know. So I just need to find a decent copy of the first one on the Wii. So um, Played some Smash on Friday night, which was a blast. I'm a little disappointed in the setup of that game. Like, it would have been really nice. You know how ARMS, how you just kind of get tossed into a lobby and then it puts you in
Mm-hmm.
rooms? That would be
Mm-hmm.
nice. But it seems like just to play with friends, the only way to do it is to set up a 4-player game, and that's it.
Oh.
And so
Hmm.
what I really would have liked is to been able to, and this could be me, I need to do a little more research. I may be able to find a way to do this and I just didn't figure it out. But I would love to be able to set up one-on-one and allow people to spectate. But I just don't even know if that's a thing. And then the next person that wants in, the winner stays in, that kind of thing, like classic arcade style, like put your quarter up on the machine and we'll keep going. Like I want that. So hopefully that's something that if it's not in this version and I hope it's in the next one.
You
Something
know,
like that.
it's funny you bring that up because one of the Blizzard games that I like to play from time to time is Hearthstone, and that's just a kind of standard card game, very similar to Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. And their client allows you to spectate other like friends. And you could message them while they're playing, and they may be playing a random person. But I mean, I've seen that kind of system in place, and that would be I mean that would be great for everything. I mean, let's get Mario Kart 9 with a spectate mode that allows you to kind of voice chat with people and queue up so that you hop in. And Splatoon's very similar, where you can kind of jump in on someone and watch them play. But yeah, I mean, might as well just bring it to all the multiplayer games. Let you set up a party and queue up for a game.
Hate's not here to talk about it. He's taking the night off, obviously. But when Street Fighter 2 came out on Xbox Live Arcade, like him and a few of the other guys that we played with regularly didn't know what they were in for when we started playing Street Fighter, and so I never had to put my quarter up. Uh, I got to just keep playing, and it was hilarious because they were just like, "What?" Like they didn't expect it. It was fun. But it was such a great way to play that game. We were all in the same party chat, so everybody could hear, the reactions and the trash talking and everything, and it just makes it fun. So hopefully that's something we can see incorporated into Smash when it finally comes to the Switch. Lastly, I've been playing, of course, Mario Kart 8. Right, Monday night we finished Xenoblade and then jumped into Mario Kart 8 with viewers. And I got to tell you, playing with the people in the stream is so much fun. So if you guys are here and you've been playing with us, thank you. It is absolutely a blast. And if you want to join, please come out on Monday nights. What we typically do will typically do Mario Kart. So just join the stream. My friend code is in there. I might even put my friend code in this show if you guys want to just get some games in the show notes. I'll put it in there just so that you can feel free to add me, and who knows, whether it be some Rocket League or Mario Kart, like the more I can just be playing with people, the better. Like I want to keep a good mix of those single player games and those multiplayer games. So um,
And you've got the Discord set up too. So if you happen to find this podcast and you come on to Josh's stream and you start playing with us, I mean, I'm more than willing to throw my Switch code out there if anyone wants to join up too. But join our Discord, because we do have an Excel sheet set up that has all of the regulars friend codes, and it's so much better to play these games with a community that you can talk with on a regular basis. And Josh does a great job of hosting his stream where everyone can kind of jump in and play the game as well. And I'm looking forward to a lot more multiplayer games coming out this year, hopefully, where we can kind of do this sort of thing.
yeah, it's Mario Kart 8 can definitely ruin friendships though. Nick Tendo joined us last night after I tweeted it out, and I'm sorry, Nick. That star right before the finish line. I know. It was a dirty move, but he posted in chat afterwards. I was thinking about subscribing. I don't think I'm going to, or something along those lines after that. But man, I mean, getting Mario Karted last night was real. There were at points I'm like in 7th place, just continually getting hit by lightning, going, what is going on right now? Go from like almost finish in 1st and then end up in 9th, and it's like only in Mario Kart is this possible. So good times for sure. As far as any like pickups and whatnot, it's been a little slow since the holiday season. If the physical copy of Rocket League is now available, came out today, and it's like a limited edition. At least that's what the box says.
Yeah.
So, and I think it just says that so they could sell it for $10 more or whatever than the version on the Switch already.
It's good to know in 2018 we still have the Switch tax.
Yeah, exactly. So, and as far as upcoming releases, like I'll kind of give you guys the rundown, but it's kind of slow, honestly. Like the biggest like Nintendo game coming out is Kirby Battle Royale on the 3DS this week. Other than that, for just like a couple of Switch games here, we've got Ambition of the Slimes, Darkest Dungeon, Link-a-Pix Color, Oh Sir, the Hollywood Roast. No idea what this is. They kind of look like shovelware, honestly. They're like $2 or $3. Oh Sir, the Insult Simulator. World of the West. Again, not real sure what this is. Baseball Riot. They're just kind of some obscure titles. Maybe there's something really good. If I'm missing something here and some of these are really good, make sure to like tweet at me or something. Let me know, or yell at me in the Discord that I should be checking some of these games out. I mean, Darkest Dungeon looks like it could be promising. It's sitting at like $25. So, but
that kind of seems like it's the better one to go with. I was looking. Oh man, I was hoping to find something interesting on the eShop coming out this week, and I think we're just gonna have to be content for a little while. You know, it seems like we're not getting big blockbusters every month this year so far until further notice. You know, TM. But I mean, it's as far as games go, this might be a good opportunity to take a look at all the stuff that really dropped in the middle of fall and winter, and maybe start working on some of the older games that are already out. You know, picking up Stardew Valley. I know there was some news about that recently, so I mean that might be worth looking into if you haven't picked it up.
Yeah, I mean, look, what's our backlog like, honestly? Right? I mean, I have a huge backlog of games. Like I wouldn't need to buy a game this year and I wouldn't even come close, right? Like, just, you guys know the way I play. I play like 2 minutes of a game and then I don't finish it. I'm like, I've got gamer ADD really bad. So, I do want to point out that Killer from Axis said, I had a good night yesterday talking about Mario Kart. Seemed I did better when Kirby left. Strange. So you got to watch out for Kirby. You got to watch out. She doesn't mess around when it comes to Mario Kart or Splatoon. Like, I was literally going to make just highlights of me killing her in Splatoon. So because it was so few and far between. So if anybody's looking for any esports teams that may listen to this, you want to look up Kirby Geek 4. She knows what's up when it comes to Splatoon. So, well,
she plays a shy guy on Mario Kart. She's not a shy guy.
No. It's do not be deceived. So, well, as far as some talking points, I did a Nintendo Powercast Mini last week for the Nintendo Direct Mini, but I wanted to dig into it a little bit more on here. Like, what were your impressions and takeaways from the Direct on Thursday, or the Mini Direct? And there he goes. That was interesting. I wonder if his power went out or what the deal was. He just started talking and then he just left. Hey, welcome back.
There we go.
Hey!
What the heck happened? My computer just had a heart attack. And then I had a heart attack. And then I'm sure you had a heart attack.
I just kept it going, man. I just you literally opened your mouth to speak and it just was a black screen. And then the poor stream had to see two of me in their windows. So
oh, man.
Anyway,
So
what were
yeah,
your thoughts on the direct?
so I like the direct. I know it was a mini one, and I know a lot of people were kind of disappointed because we didn't get a whole lot of like super big announcements that everyone's just like, oh my god, this is the most amazing direct in the world. It compares so well to last year. I'm down with all these ports. I think that having a lot of the Wii U library, like just bring the Wii U library over. No one's gonna care if they already bought it, then they already played it, and they don't have to buy it. If they're looking for new titles on the Switch, I mean, we're probably gonna have a full year's worth of ports from the Wii U because I mean, 10 million Switches sold. We're creeping up on the Wii U's total sell through of their lifespan for the 5 years. I mean, there's tons of people that haven't played these ports, so I'm looking forward to Mario Aces, which the tennis game.
Yep.
I loved Mario Tennis on the 64. I haven't played the previous versions, and I've heard some great things about the single player campaign. Back when Camelot, I think, was making the GBA version.
Hmm.
If that okay? So, yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that out. It looks crisp. It looks like Mario plus Rabbids, Mario Odyssey style graphics, and never played Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, so that's interesting. I'm down with Funky Kong. He sounds awesome. I'm ready to play as him, even if it's easy mode. Dark Souls scares me, but I hear it's the mature rated Legend of Zelda that everyone wanted, so I'm willing to check that out. And then we got a whole bunch of other little things. The Kirby game, I'm really curious if Kirby's going to be online. If the Kirby game's online and I can play with other people, I would love that. I don't know that it is though.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I
Have you?
wouldn't. I wouldn't hold your breath.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't.
Um,
Don't hold your breath on
but
that
if
one.
that's the case, I mean, I still love Kirby games. They're great. They're fun. And I can't think of if we were going to get a direct mini, we got a lot of solid release dates, which that's more important to me than like what they announce. I mean, these games I knew were probably going to come at some point, but the fact that they're coming in the first 3 months gives us enough to kind of chew on until E3, when I'm sure Nintendo's got a lot more going on. So,
Kirby says Dark Souls should have a Funky Kong mode. Yeah, that's definitely a must from what I hear. That's one of the
that'd be
ones I
good.
am looking forward to. Uh, playing and streaming and trying to beat. Like I like those games that are super punishing. Like I Ninja Gaiden back in the day, like on the original Xbox. Um,
Ouch.
and then I mean, even on the NES, I mean, those things they were no joke, right? They were brutal.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and to see it coming to the Switch, even though it's an older game, it's a remastered version of the older game that's day and date on all the other systems. So it's really kind of cool to see them bringing remasters for other systems. I mean, this game was going to come out on the PS4 and the Xbox One no matter what, but the fact that they're bringing it to the Switch as well is great because I know when I'm sitting in my truck during lunch, I can grab my Switch and then try and beat a couple things, maybe work out some of the mechanics on a boss fight, and then I can come home, throw it in the dock while it's charging, and stream me actually doing awesome at killing this boss for the first time. That no one has to know that I spent an hour and a half on lunch just grinding and grinding this boss to figure out how to beat it.
I have a question for you. Did you have a Wii U?
No, I've never gotten to play these games. So to me, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is brand new. I never had a PS3 or a PS4. Actually, yeah, no, I've never had a PS3 or PS4. I've never had an Xbox One. So a lot of these titles are fresh to me. I don't care how old they are. I mean, we're getting a lot of games on the eShop that are 16, anywhere between 8 and 32-bit looking games, and people are okay with those. So if I'm going from 64 or GameCube quality graphics up to PS3 or PS4, I'm fine with that. As long as the game is good, then I'm willing to shell out the 50, $60 that they are, because I never bought them before. And if you did, then it's okay. Just hold off. I mean, there's going to be other stuff coming out, and you probably have another system with games coming out there too.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things. Like I have most of those Wii U titles already, right? But again, it's that element of being able to take it on the go that still adds value to those older games. Personally, I wish we got a Donkey Kong collection. I wish it had been the Returns and Tropical Freeze, even if it was a code that I had to put in, whatever. Like
Yeah.
that would have been a better that would have been a better value for me personally. But you know, there's a lot of games that people like yourself that haven't got to play them, and it really wouldn't take probably more than a year for us to have most of the Nintendo titles on from the Wii U on the Switch, because they were so few and far between, you know. But games like Mario 3D World, that is an excellent game, and that is a shame if people miss that one and don't get to play that. It is an incredibly fun game. The new Super Mario Brothers U is again a really good title, and I think I mentioned it on here before. So um, I like this. I like that Nintendo's doing this. You know, for people that had expectations that were maybe too high for this direct, like the thing is, we really just came off of a crazy year, right? For Nintendo, Zelda, Mario Kart, Splatoon, Xenoblade, Mario plus Rabbids. I mean, Odyssey. Like there is a massive library of games already on the Switch, stellar games, top-notch games, and I think everybody is on that hype train and they want to just keep riding it, right? But I mean, as a business, Nintendo is like, well, we still have to do our normal, like they're still going to do the normal like schedule for when they release and talk about these games. Like the fact that we saw as many games as we did from a mini, and there's still the potential for another direct, possibly this week. That's the rumor. I don't, I take it or leave it. Possibly February. We don't know. The thing is, everybody says that it's within 20 days. There's always another direct after one of these minis. So that being said, they could still drop some real heavy hitters. But even if they don't, if nothing else came out, they've already given us somewhat of a roadmap up to E3. And then E3 is where we're going to see the really big titles drop, you know? Like that's when we're going to see the Animal Crossings, the Smash, the hopefully new IP. Like I want to see some really great new IP from Nintendo. Like ARMS may not have been for everybody. It may not have been something I like really like loved, but it was still a good game. It was still very much a Nintendo game, and I want to see more stuff like that.
Well, the nice thing that we have, I mean, everyone kind of expects these directs to give us a basic roadmap for what Nintendo is planning, but we've already seen this week that we don't have to rely on Nintendo to have game announcements. We have plenty of outlets and media to give game developers and publishers an opportunity to boast their game from their own PR companies as well. So we got announcements this week that we weren't expecting that could have very well have been in the direct mini, but they weren't for whatever reason. And people are still looking forward to those games coming out. So I mean, to expect the direct to be the end all be all for what's going to come out on the Switch is kind of a misnomer. We really should expect that, this is the stuff that Nintendo's agreed to publicly support on their side of like PR, and everything else will still come out. It just may not have as big of a hype because it's not quote unquote in the direct. So it's going to be interesting to see for the next 3 months what's going to happen, what we're going to get. Like I'm pretty sure we're still waiting for an announcement from Bethesda on Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. They said that was coming out 2018. We haven't heard from them since the last direct. So I mean, there's plenty of stuff coming out that we just don't know about that I'm okay with waiting for, because we had such a great 2017. I don't think we had um, that many amazing IP titles come out for a game system ever. I think it's the best one.
Yeah, it's been absolutely stellar, and like I said, I think it's because of that that people's expectations are so high. You know, I mean, and even looking at Nintendo's coming soon, like we went over, I went over it earlier just to look at what games were coming out, but like they don't even have some of the games like Scribblenauts, one of the ones you were talking about. We don't we had no clue. And then today, boom, Scribblenauts coming out. It's like a rock paper scissors game, which could be very very fun based on how that game is kind of left up to your imagination. Like, how are you going to defeat your buddy or whatever when you play this game? Detective Pikachu, right? Another game we didn't like. I and I could be wrong, but I mean I knew this game was out like in Japan or I'd heard like rumblings of it, but wasn't even positive it was coming to the U.S. And then boom, we get that announcement plus a giant amiibo for this game as well. And and not to mention we already have Bayonetta that we got from the Game Awards. Like there's there's a lot of games to play up until
Yeah.
up until E3. Even if some of these games don't even make it, we don't know when Yoshi's coming out exactly. We don't know when The World Ends With You is coming out. We don't know when Wolfenstein's coming out.
Yep.
Octopath Traveler, we don't have an exact date on that, but like they gave us a good amount of games even last year that were going to be coming out this year on top of everything that came out last year. So, and I mean, and again, like this, I think it's called Yis, I think is how you say it, or Yeez.
Ease, yeah.
The Yeez
Ease 8
8.
coming out this summer.
You know,
That's one I'm looking forward to.
that looks like it's gonna be a fairly long game. We've also got Street Fighter is on the list. Wasn't in that direct, but that's another game that's there. So I mean, there's
Yeah.
still a lot of games coming out. So like, go to PlayStation or Xbox right now. Not that I'm like trying to like talk like console wars, anything like that, but you're not
Oh,
even
let's.
seeing that kind of that kind of communication
It's
about what games are
it,
coming out.
the Nintendo Switch has so many games that I know offhand because I try to listen to more than just like Nintendo news when it comes to games. I like try to understand like what's going on. As far as I've heard from other people, the PlayStation games that people are looking forward to are God of War and Spider-Man. Like that's it. That's the biggest thing that that Sony fans are looking for. We have so many potential games coming out for the Switch that it's insane just looking at the library like Super Mario Maker, Smash, we got Animal Crossing, Pikmin, we've got Bayonetta 3 confirmed in development, we've got Metroid Prime 4 confirmed in development. I mean, I was talking with a buddy today about how there's precedent that Kingdom Hearts games are on 3DS, and Square Enix is building Project Octopath for the Switch. So who knows? We might get like a surprise from Square Enix saying like, "Oh, hey, and when you're done with Lost Sphere coming out at the end of the month, we've got Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 bundle coming out this summer. We're porting it. Have fun." Who knows? Like, what could possibly be coming to the Nintendo Switch at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think E3 is going to really rock and roll, and and I think third parties are going to really play a much larger part this year. And I would be willing to bet that we're going to see from third parties. We're actually going to see some 2019 games as well. Nintendo seems to be pretty good about trying to not go more than like much more than a year ahead, but we could see some 2020 2019 games from third parties that are like, and this is coming to all three systems. May not necessarily be on the Nintendo on their during their presentation, but that's now we're seeing. It's like with Dark Souls, how we can see it's coming on PlayStation, it's coming on Xbox, it's going to be on the Switch. That kind of stuff is it's really cool to see. I did not anticipate that whatsoever. I did not anticipate that we would basically have three consoles getting the same games at the same time. Now, obviously, it's not every game, but I didn't expect that we would see that at all. I did not think that there would be, when LA Noire got remastered and seeing the little Switch box with the other two, I was like, I didn't expect to see that. I
It's
just didn't.
it's been a long time, and you brought up Dark Souls as an example, and that is a perfect example of a company trusting that Nintendo is the first, like Nintendo is the platform that they want to announce this remaster for. They could have had a press release from Sony or Microsoft letting their fans know, like, hey, by the way, we're doing a Dark Souls remastered and it's coming to these consoles, and all the other consoles. But they chose Nintendo, which says a lot right now, because it's the fastest selling system in North America. It's the most talked about system for holidays. I mean, a lot of companies, a lot of third party companies are looking at the Switch right now and saying, like, if we want to get in on this, then we need to start bringing some of our games over. And I think in the next couple months leading up to E3, there's going to be a lot of scrambling by third party companies and publishers to get trailers with the little Switch logo on the box so we can see what's coming.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year. And speaking of this year, the president of Nintendo, Kimishima, said that they want to expand the console's user base to those who have never touched game machines too much. So, other than just more traditional gamers. So we had a pretty long conversation in our Discord about this. Like, are they trying to catch that lightning in a bottle that they did with the Wii on the Switch? I mean, they have their motion controls. We could technically see another Wii Sports title, but it wouldn't be, what's it be called, Switch Sports? I'm not sure what they would call it. My guess, if we saw a title like that, it would be much more Mario branded, like a Mario Sports Resort or something like that, instead of the Mii's. But who knows? I mean, the Wii sold in retirement homes and places that you didn't expect it. My parents bought one. My in-laws bought one. That system was bought by so many people. Not everybody played it that much. They bowled, right? They bought it literally.
Yeah.
It was a Wii Sports machine for a lot of people. And then for others, it also became like a Just Dance machine, or maybe some workout games or something. What do you think? What is and chat? I want you guys to chime in on this as well. Like, what do you think he means when he says they want to reach players who have never touched game machines too much?
I'm really kind of worried about this, actually, because I mean, if anyone's listened to the show and has heard me talk about why I skipped out on the Wii and the Wii U, they know I'm not a huge fan of the gimmick. The Switch going from a portable to a home console, that's not a giant leap. That's a pretty interesting thing. That's compelling. That actually improves my gameplay experience. Putting a Joy-Con in front of my mouth and pretending to eat a sandwich is just dumb. And I cannot. I know a lot of people are having fun with 1-2 Switch at parties and stuff, but I don't want Nintendo relying on some of the things that they've implemented with the systems to the point where it turns people off. I mean, I can't think of like, I mean, just some of the stuff with having like a touch screen and mobile games, as Mikey B playing saying, coming over and kind of clogging up the store. I don't want them to get gimmicky with this. I don't want weird controllers like Link's crossbow training. That I want them to stick to what they're good at, which is making a platform that everyone can come to with multiple games, and let the developers decide what they want to do with the controllers and not have the hardware dictate that. So as long as they keep the Joy-Cons the same, maybe with a couple extra attachments for the outlier, I'm fine with that. But I mean, let game developers be the ones to bring in the audience.
So I may have a rebuttal, actually, with 1-2
All right.
Switch. So Well, and I had to think about it because like nobody looks upon that game too fondly, right? Like, and I'll be honest, it hasn't been played all that much. Where's it been played most? Yeah, when we had parties. My kids will randomly want to pull it out because they want to do like the quick draw, that kind of stuff. I mean, that stuff is enjoyable. There's no way around that. But I got to thinking about it, and I was actually looking for a picture, and I couldn't find it on my phone. I'm not sure what happened, but my nephew, I don't know, turned 3 or whatever. I have a lot of nephews, um, and my grandma was there, and I brought the Switch. Well, she's not going to play Mario Kart or something like that. Like that's not gonna interest her. But when I showed her how that we could like milk the cow or do the safe and that kind of stuff, like how to unlock the safe, she was very intrigued and was like, the way the marbles would move in her hand, she was like blown away by that. And we sat and played the thing for like half hour, 45 minutes, and she enjoyed it. But she would never touch a Switch other than to do something like that. Like, so I'm with you as far as I don't want to see a like massive increase in like these gimmicky shovelware titles, but I'm curious on how Nintendo plans on reaching a larger audience and more people. And I'm also curious because, and I don't have the full article. There was more things they said, but the other thing that I'm just going to paraphrase is they mentioned using like new accessories, new hardware accessories. So
Yeah,
I wonder what that is. Are we going to be getting tennis rackets or the
that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that we're gonna. I mean, right now they're already the prices for the Joy Cons and stuff are $80 for a pair of Joy Cons, and they're doing multiple colors, so that it's interesting, and that's fine. I understand like they want to do that. The thing I'm worried about is that they're going to start trying to sell these accessories for the Joy Cons that you can slip into, to take advantage of the IR sensor, so that you can start drawing stuff like they had on the initial launch release, and start making weird stuff like that. Um, we don't need it. I mean, it's nice if you want to get like the random person who's going to spend the $300 for this kind of thing. But all in all, I mean, the thing that's going to keep this system alive is good stories told through polished games by companies that people already have an established rapport with, and IPs that drive those sales to the system.
you're not wrong when it comes to gamers, traditional gamers, like the article says, but for you know the user base that doesn't typically touch the console, I'm really curious to see how they are going to attack this. And I hope it's something. I hope it's something as good as Wii Sports, that is something that anyone can play, from a young child to the elderly and everyone in between, and have a good time doing it. That's what sold Wii's, honestly. It wasn't that Nintendo had some like great system that every gamer had to have. No, it was, hey, I brought bowling to my parents' house for New Year's, and they immediately went out and bought a Wii. Hey, I brought my Wii over, and somebody tried bowling. Hey, how much is one of those? Where can I get one of those? That's how, I mean, to me, that's how that system sold. My mom was like, "You got to find me one of these things." I'm like, "They're impossible to find. What do you mean I got to find you one?"
I
So
Yeah, and if I look back at what was going on then, is that like the Wii Sports sold the system to people who didn't play the games for it, and the price was low enough that it was close enough to an impulse buy, and Wii Sports was a pack in. But we don't have games like 1-2 Switch as a pack in. We don't have anything packed in with the Switch. So if you're looking at a Switch purchase, you're looking at 300 for the system, typically a memory card, possibly another set of Joy-Con for the multiplayer side of it, plus the game. And that's a lot heftier of a price ticket than just the system, maybe an extra controller, and Wii Sports for the time being.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there is a little bit. I mean, when the Wii came out, it was 250. An extra remote was 40. So there you're already at almost the same price as a Switch, minus the game, right? Because Wii Sports was bundled in. Um, so, but I don't know. I don't know. Like,
I, I guess my biggest concern is if their attention is focusing on that aspect of bringing in a wider audience to getting into the Switch, then where is the focus being lost on? Like, are they losing focus on what they're doing well right now, or are they not paying attention to online or virtual console? Like, they can only divide their resources so many ways, and right now there's so many things that the traditional gamers that they're relying on to sell this system are craving. And if they start deviating from what those gamers want, are they going to lose faith in the system, and we start losing developers as a result of gamers going to other systems? That's my concern.
I mean, I can see it's a legitimate concern. I I feel like they've already done such a great job of making it clear that they are here for the gamer that I don't think they would spread themselves so thin that it would affect us as the gamer. I'm hoping that it's one killer IP that it's like, I got to take this to my parents and we're going to play it and they're going to be like, where can I go get this right now? You know,
Yeah.
I brought the SNES Mini down on like Christmas, and my brother-in-law ended up going and buying one for $125 just because he's like, I just want this. I need to have it. I can't find it anywhere else. You know, he had to pay a scalper for it. But like, it was so awesome though, because today my sister shows up at work. She's got her three little kids who are from the ages of like 1 to like 6 or 7, and all they could do is tell me about how they finally beat this level in Super Mario World, and they finally beat this level in Donkey Kong Country, and they got to race each other in Super Mario Kart, you know, and like, I was eating it up, man. Like, I was just loving hearing that kind of stuff. And so
Well,
um
think how great that would have been if you could have sold your brother on a Switch and he could have gotten all of the great games that just came out in 2017 and picked up those games on the SNES Classic Mini through Virtual Console.
oh, stop it.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, there are things that are valid excuses. Like your brother wanting SNES games on a small system that has the traditional controller. I can totally understand that. I bought one. I love it. I'm really happy that I jumped back onto it last night. But having these games portably and then being able to throw them on a dock is so much better of an idea than having to, oh, did I remember all the cables for my SNES Classic as I take it over to the front to family's house so that they can play it, and then having to worry about, okay, well, now I got to try and find one of these things and worry about a console scalper and stuff. It's like we could totally have this stuff right now on the eShop. They just haven't hit the Switch. I didn't mean that pun. Can we cut that out? Can we cut that out?
Yeah, I'll edit. No, I
Okay,
won't.
thank you. But I mean, it's possible, and it's something that they haven't addressed at all, and that is kind of a big begging question. And when they say that they're looking forward to expanding their audience to a wider demographic than traditional gamers, I kind of want them to just continue feeding the people that are willing to shell out the cash for them, because that's who they're here to serve. They'll sell a couple extra switches here and there, and maybe 1-2 switch with them, and maybe they'll have those systems for a while. But I mean, the people that are going to keep the system alive are the ones that are going to be buying the IPs and the franchises that they love.
Mikey B says you don't have to always be the Debbie Downer. I just want to point that out there. So, the thing is, though, I could guarantee you he wouldn't have bought a Switch because it's $300, right? Then have to buy all those games separately. He wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have. So, I mean, in that case, because he's actually a PlayStation guy, they played those older games and the nostalgia kicked in, and it was like enough to make them pull that trigger. The virtual console is an interesting topic because, like, I mean, I'm in the camp that's like, whatever. When we get it, we get it. I have all those games already. I've bought them so many times. I hope they come up with something awesome for virtual console because it has to be something better, right? And hopefully that's why it's taken time. In the past, virtual console would launch and you'd get like one game a week, maybe 2 games a month. And sometimes there were games that were like, this isn't even worth getting. And so then there was another disappointment factor there. So I do want to go back to, I don't know, his name has changed so many times. DJ Shapes, Destinot, I don't know. He says the other question is a bigger audience in general. A bigger audience in the U.S. where the average gamer is 35. A larger audience in Japan where the average gamer is early 20s. Europe, average gamer is 45. Maybe more females. We don't necessarily know what they're saying, and which is exactly the case. We don't know. I mean, they just say they want to reach gamers that haven't touched game machines much. So
Yeah, and I like, if it was just that statement, I would understand, like, that's, they want to try and market better, they want to try and make sure that more people know what the Switch is and make it a much more household name. But it's the extra little bit that they tied in there about the hardware, about the features, about the hardware, that really just kind of concern me. And it's going to be a wait and see kind of situation, as it always is with this kind of stuff, and I'm fine with that. Because I know at the very least, the third-party publishers are sold on the system, and they're going to be bringing their games to it. And I've already got controllers that work for their games, so I'm fine with that. But I hope that Nintendo, like, I hope we don't miss out on the next great Mario Odyssey or the next Zelda game, because they want to turn it into another Skyward Sword situation, where they're using the hardware as the interface. And now Skyward Sword is probably going to be really hard to port to future games because it was so tied in with that generation's hardware.
Yeah, are you talking trying to get Skyward Sword onto the Switch, or having Switch games that are like Skyward Sword that can't go onto later consoles?
Both, because I mean, Skyward Sword right now would be kind of hard to bring over to the Switch. I mean, the Joy-Con has the motion control, but you still have to go through and recode all of that. And if they start making games that are dependent on specific features about the Joy-Con, then that's going to be harder whenever we get whatever the next console is, and they want to start porting games from past consoles. Yeah. Like the analog shoulder buttons is a perfect example with GameCube games. Like, how do we solve that problem to bring GameCube games to future consoles when they had a very specific type of button and controller layout?
Yeah, that's a good question with the GameCube for sure. Nightcrawler says they learned their lesson with Mario, had motion controls, but was fine without it, right? So they, at least, I really feel like this time around they've given us the option, and they really have to, because the Switch is portable, right? They're not going to just do these games that are just your typical gimmicky game, because you can't. I mean, outside of setting up tabletop mode, right? Some of these games, you're not going to be... I mean, you really can't play 1-2 Switch on an airplane. I mean, you can play a few of the games. I did pull mine out after like Guardian Con or whatever, and did like the marbles just to show somebody what the but for the most part, like these these titles, if that's what it's going to be, it's not going to be many of them, and um, they're going to be few and far between, if that, and that's just my opinion. I think because of the nature of the Switch, you know, having the option to do motion controls, but also being able to play it just out of the dock, you can't be tied down to those motion controls, because how do you do it? How do you do it? And so it's
Yeah.
almost like um, Kirby's like, can't play 1-2 switch on an airplane. Hold my beer.
I tried playing a couple motion control games on an airplane, and every time the airplane would bank, my character would rotate at the same
Man,
time.
yeah,
So
of course.
there's already some problems with playing on an airplane, but the fact that I can play on an airplane is still pretty impressive. And I got a text message from my buddy just asking me right now if I had any problems bringing my Switch onto an airplane when I went to visit them. So I got to text him and be like, "No, you're good, dude. Bring Zelda. You'll really enjoy it.
Yeah,
30,000 feet."
you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So, and it is a new Nintendo, right? It's definitely it's not the same Nintendo of the past that just like, dance to the beat of their own drum. Like they, the, games like Mario Odyssey are very, are an indication of that. Like, hey, I'll be honest, playing Mario Sunshine or Mario Galaxy with the Wii remote and the nunchuck, it did not bother me at all. Skyward Sword, don't love it. Didn't really not loving it as much because I don't like having to swing the Wii remote as the sword, but basically just using the pointer and having Mario spin just by shaking it, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad at all. So I think would I have played Galaxy with the Pro controller they offered back in the day? Absolutely. That would have been my preferred way to play it. But they did do a good job. And thankfully, even back then, at least they gave us options in games like Mario Kart where you could drive with the wheel, which was ridiculous to me. You could still use the controller. They gave some controller support. It's odd when sometimes they offer it and sometimes they don't. They dropped the ball with Star Fox on the Wii U, and they made the gamepad like a necessity instead of an option. And so
I hope too that you bring up a good point of accessibility, because that's it's a big issue with all gaming right now that I think game developers have to start taking into consideration a lot more seriously. So if they start making some hardware decisions that dictate what kind of games they want to bring out to kind of broaden their audience, I hope they take accessibility into account for people with vision impairment, people with physical issues, that make it so that it's easier for those folks to be able to enjoy games as well, because they deserve it. They deserve to be able to enjoy games just as much as anyone else. So if they start broadening their audience, I hope they start looking at not just typical not just typical gamers and then the circle outside of typical gamers, but everyone as a whole equally. That would be my hope for what they were talking about.
yeah, that's definitely, that would be great. Having something more accessible. I mean, I think about like the like Operation Supply Drop and the Wounded Warrior program, that kind of stuff. Where they like literally guys that have been really mutilated from war are able to play games with these crazy custom controllers and things like that. So if they're able to play some of these games as a little more accessible, I mean, I'm on board as well. So, well, this was fun, man. This was good. I'm like, for kind of a slow week, I was like, is this going to be a short show? But we did it. We did it. So where can people find you?
You guys can find me pretty much Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch at CAPT_LOGUN. Same thing with Twitter. Any questions, any arguments you guys want to have, any points that I didn't think of about anything we talked about, hit me up. Let me know, because I'm always open for discussion about this, and I'm more than willing to admit that I'm wrong about things if someone's got a good point about it. So hit me up there if you guys have any questions. I'm going to be hanging around Josh's streams always. I always try to jump in and see what you're up to as well too. So I'll be in your chat if anything.
Cool, man. Awesome. Guys, you're going to find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. Everything's N64Josh. There is links in the show notes to all that stuff. Remember that Alka-Seltzer just comes in with "I hate your face" and throwing up rainbows all over the place. So awesome. Welcome. I audibletrial.com/NPC. Get yourself a free audiobook. opseat.com. Use coupon code N64Josh to save yourself $10. And I do have a Patreon. $1 gets you an extra podcast each month. So go check that out and check out the different tiers there. If you're enjoying the show, we definitely could use some 5-star reviews. Like I said, because of some people that I don't know if they don't like me, they didn't like the audio quality, or they were mad that they didn't find the actual Nintendo Power podcast, left 1-star reviews and dropped us down to a 4.5. So if you have a second on iTunes, you can leave us a 5-star review if you're liking the show. That would be awesome. I really, really appreciate that. And lastly, what is Alka-Seltzer saying right now? Jokes, fam? Y'all are lit? Okay. Oh, wow. Here we go. We're just getting all the Twitch lingo going there. So
it had to show up somewhere in the show, didn't it?
Right, for sure. But no, seriously, guys, if you're here with us live, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being super awesome. If you're just listening to this, thank you so much for taking the time to download it. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions that you want read on the show, you can join my Discord. There's a link. You can also email me, n64josh@gmail.com. And, questions, concerns, whatever. And I do want to thank everybody that has left reviews too, because there's been some extremely kind words, and I'm humbled by it. So thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, bud.
You too.
All right. Chat, how the heck is everybody doing? Rainbow Vomit is positive.
I question Rainbow Vomit as being positive. I don't know how positive it can be.
Oh, man. All right, let's see. Find somebody to raid here. Oh, thank you guys for being here live. I love every last one of you.
This is the best cat in the world, Alka-Seltzer. She is the most relaxed kitty ever, unless she needs to be fed or she's not near a human being, at which point she understands that if she meows incessantly, she gets what she wants. So she is a princess.
All right. Well, let's see.
Her name is technically Miley, but my wife came up with the best nickname. She just kept calling her Miley Moo, so eventually it just turned into Moo. So now we have a cat that's just named Moo, but she loves it.
All right, guys. Here's looks like Flynn Live, maybe? Flynn, I'm not sure. But she's playing Mario Kart. Let's hit her with an N64 raid. Thank you guys for hanging out. We do appreciate you. Have a wonderful night, everybody. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully. Every time that's hilarious. I'm gonna kill you, killer. Later, guys.